Have you ever wondered how antennas work? These unique structures, designed to efficiently emit and receive electromagnetic waves, play a vital role in our technological world. They are the invisible heroes that allow our devices to communicate wirelessly, transferring information from one device to another with ease. But their utility extends beyond just our phones and televisions. Antennas are crucial in diverse fields such as radar technology, meteorology, radio astronomy, geolocation, and surface reconstruction. In essence, when an antenna acts as a transmitter, it moves electric charge, generating an electromagnetic field that expands in various directions. Conversely, when functioning as a receiver, the antenna picks up on these electromagnetic fields, generating an alternating current with a frequency similar to the initial current in the transmitting antenna. This process enables the seamless transfer of information, but the magic of antennas doesn't stop there. So let's delve deeper into the fascinating world of antennas. To comprehend how an antenna operates, we need to grasp two essential physical principles. First up, we have Ampere's law. This principle tells us that when an electric charge moves through a conductor, in other words, when there's an electric current, it creates a magnetic field. This magnetic field can be visualized as closed circuit lines of magnetic flux with a specific direction. To determine this direction, we can use the right-hand rule. Simply point your thumb in the direction of the current, and your fingers will show the direction of the magnetic flux. The second principle, Faraday's law, comes into play when a conductor is present within a magnetic flux. If the flux changes over time, an electromotive force or voltage is generated in the conductor. The direction of this voltage will mirror that of the magnetic field that brought it into existence. So, how do these principles apply to antennas? Let's consider a pair of antennas made of simple, straight wires. One antenna acts as the transmitter, the other as the receiver. When we send direct current through the transmitting antenna, Ampere's law tells us that we'll generate a cylindrical magnetic field. Initially, this field grows, but then stabilizes over time. If we then bring the receiving antenna closer during this growth phase, Faraday's law kicks in. The changing magnetic field generates a voltage in the receiving antenna, which disappears once the magnetic field stabilizes. At this point, you might be thinking, but that's not very useful. We're only sending a single signal. And you'd be right. However, things get a lot more interesting when we switch from direct current to alternating current. By constantly changing the direction of the current through the transmitting antenna, we create a magnetic field whose direction also continuously changes. The receiving antenna is always in the presence of a varying magnetic flux, and so it generates an alternating current. With these principles, we can start to see how antennas work. An electric charge plays a significant role in the operation of an antenna. Let's dive a little deeper into this concept. Just like a conductor, an antenna is a pathway for the flow of electric charge. But unlike a simple wire, an antenna does something special. As the electric charge moves through it, it generates an electromagnetic field. Now, this isn't your typical field, like a wheat field or a football field. It's an invisible force that permeates our world, and it's the magic behind how antennas work. Imagine this electromagnetic field as a ripple expanding outwards, much like waves created when you throw a stone into a pond. The ripple, or in our case, the electromagnetic field, expands in multiple directions from the source, which is our antenna. This expansion is not random. It follows the laws of physics, specifically Ampere's law and Faraday's law. But we'll save the physics lesson for another day. The key thing to understand here is that the electric charge moving through the antenna is what generates this electromagnetic field. The movement of electric charge is a vital part of the antenna's function, making it a cornerstone of wireless communication. Without this movement, there would be no field, and thus no signal to transmit or receive. Now, the direction of the field isn't just one way. The field expands in all directions from the antenna, like an invisible bubble spreading out into space. This means the signals can be received from and sent to multiple directions, making your antenna a versatile communication tool. So, in essence, the electric charge is the engine of the antenna. It's the fuel that powers the creation of the electromagnetic field. And this field, expanding in multiple directions, is what allows antennas to transmit and receive signals wirelessly. This electromagnetic field is the backbone of an antenna's functioning. It's the invisible force that makes your Wi-Fi connect, your radio play, and your GPS navigate. all thanks to the humble electric charge moving through your antenna. An antenna can act as both a transmitter and a receiver. Let's delve into the roles of these two components. A transmitting antenna is fed with electric charge, and as it moves through the antenna, it generates an electromagnetic field. This field expands in various directions thanks to Ampere's law, which tells us that when electric charge moves through a conductor, it generates a magnetic field. Now, let's turn our attention to the receiving antenna. This device is impacted by the electromagnetic field generated by the transmitting antenna. The interaction between the electromagnetic field and the receiving antenna results in the generation of alternating currents. These currents have a frequency that mirrors that of the electromagnetic field, and by extension, the current that was initially present in the transmitting antenna. This is where the magic happens. The generation of these alternating currents enables the transfer of information. But how? Well, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction comes into play. According to Faraday's law, when a conductor, in this case our receiving antenna, is in the presence of a changing magnetic field, a voltage is induced within the conductor. So as the electromagnetic field generated by the transmitting antenna changes, the receiving antenna responds by generating a voltage. This voltage, in turn, creates an alternating current. This current is a mirror image of the one in the transmitting antenna, allowing for an effective transfer of information. It's like a beautifully choreographed dance between the transmitter and receiver. The transmitter sends out electromagnetic waves and the receiver, guided by the laws of physics, responds in kind. This intricate exchange allows for the wireless transfer of information, from your favorite radio station's broadcast tower to your car's radio, or from your router to your laptop. The transfer of information is made possible by the interaction between these two components. It's a testament to the power of electromagnetism and the clever design of antennas that harness it. Alternating current brings a whole new dynamic to the operation of antennas. Now imagine we switch from direct current to alternating current. In other words, we continuously change the direction of the electric charge passing through the transmitting antenna. The behavior of the magnetic field and the resultant voltage undergoes a significant shift. With alternating current, the magnetic field continues to expand cylindrically. However, if we observe the magnetic flux lines, we find that their direction reverses with the same frequency as the polarity change in the current. This constant flux variation keeps the receiving antenna engaged, unlike the static magnetic field generated by direct current. In the presence of this ever-changing magnetic flux, the receiving antenna experiences a continuous generation of voltage. This voltage doesn't disappear after a while, as it did with direct current. Instead, it keeps varying at the same frequency as the magnetic flux direction. This variation is essentially an alternating current in the receiving antenna. So what does this mean for our information transfer? Well, with alternating current, we're no longer limited to sending a single signal. The continuous variation in the current and voltage allows for the transmission of a series of signals, each with different information. This is the crux of wireless communication as we know it today. Think about it this way. If the electric charges moving through the conductor were a symphony orchestra, direct current would be akin to playing the same note over and over again. But alternating current? Now that's a full-fledged concert, with each note carrying a unique piece of the melody. This constant shift from one direction to another, this dance of electric charges, is what enables the wireless transfer of vast amounts of information. It's what makes it possible for you to stream your favorite show, send a text message, or make a call. Alternating current is the secret to sending more than just a single signal. It's the symphony conductor directing the orchestra of electric charges, creating a melody of information that travels through the air, bringing the world closer, one signal at a time. Antennas, though often overlooked, are crucial in our technologically advanced world. They are the silent workhorses, making possible the wireless transfer of information between devices. Antennas function on some fundamental physical principles, such as Ampere's law and Faraday's law, which explain how the movement of electric charge generates magnetic fields and how varying magnetic fields give rise to voltage or electromotive force. These antennas can act as transmitters, sending out electromagnetic waves, or as receivers, picking up those waves and converting them back into electric signals. The magic truly happens when we introduce alternating current into the equation. This allows for the continuous transmission and reception of signals, making our wireless communications seamless and uninterrupted. So let's appreciate these marvels of engineering that play such an integral role in our daily lives. Next time you use your smartphone or tune into a radio station, remember the complex yet fascinating mechanics of antennas that make it all possible.